When Moon, that's what we're going to be talking about today for Bit Digital. So the last couple of days have been pretty bleak, not gonna lie. It's been pretty dramatic here, watching a lot of things drop and all the news come and make everything fluctuate all wild like. But today we're gonna do another When Moon. Let's take a look at Bit Digital and see what kind of potential it has going into this halving and beyond, and why we here on the Trade Cave channel are invested in this stock, particularly what is the hopium sitting out there waiting for us on this particular ticker. And of course, as always, this is not financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. This is a very speculative exercise. The Bit Digital stock could never reach these prices potentially, and maybe it can, but this is really just looking at some of the data, looking at the possibilities, and seeing what, if any, potential there is in the future here coming after the halving for this particular stock. So let's get right into it and talk about Bit Digital and what kind of potential this thing could have. Now, I'm going to start off by saying I do have a pretty significant bag of Bit Digital. It's a little over 2,000 shares, something getting close to like 2,500. I'm thinking about maybe stopping around 2,500, maybe up to 3,000 shares on this thing. And of course, like I've already said, this is not financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever, but I will be talking about Bit Digital today. So let's have a look-see at the chart. We've looked at this yesterday. It's pretty bleak. I've been looking at it the last couple of days and talked about it. You can see that we have this head and shoulders here on the daily chart right there, head, shoulder, shoulder. It has played out completely. So this head and shoulder move is done. So we do have permission in the price action to kind of reverse here, assuming that we don't continue to get really bad news. If news is quiet or good tomorrow, we might see this thing go up a tiny bit or maybe start to flatten out here, which it likes to do. You can see here in the past, it flattens out for quite a long time. This was from September 1st, 2023 until November 2023. We had that really flat period. Before that, we've also seen flat periods that last a couple of months before either a down move or, another up move on this stock. So we've been in a downtrend for a while here. We've been in a downtrend, honestly, since December 29th with a couple of pops along the way. We are flattening out at that previous support around $2 on Bit Digital. I don't expect it to go much lower unless we get some bad news coming through, but halving's coming up pretty soon. Bitcoin should soar pretty soon. Their AI business is doing very well, and they are staking Ethereum, which at some point will probably do very well in the after the halving in the bull cycle. So they are primed to get a lot of benefit from a lot of those things. They do have a nice treasury of Bitcoin. They do have a nice treasury of Ethereum. They are generating monthly revenue that has reached their initial target of reaching that $50 million a year from their AI business. They are executing well on a lot of the things that they promised. So there is opportunity here. There is promise here. So let's take a look at some of their information. So first of all, we're going to take a look at their SEC filing. So this is a really kind of overwhelming thing to look at real quick, but we're just going to look at two things. So you may have gotten excited on the 19th of March when they did a registration withdrawal request. That's where they requested to withdraw an offering of up to 20 million shares that they had done in February 2022. But then just a few days later, that got shot down on March 22nd, where they withdrew that withdrawal. So in fact, they are still able to issue that 20 million shares that they had initially withdrawn and said they had done so in Arrow. Now let's take a look at the chart. When was the 21st of March? So the 19th, this was the day they filed the withdrawal. The 20th was really, really good. And then the 21st, where they withdrew it, you started to see a little dip and then another rip coming in after that, that initial dip there. So that's really all that's going on in there. We also saw that BlackRock sold a small amount of their Bit Digital shares here in the month of March. They only sold less than 6%, but my assumption there, since it was such a small amount in comparison to like what they sold from Mara, Riot, and Bitfarms, I think they were just rebalancing it to get underneath that 10% ownership of the company, because there are more accounting implications when you own 10% or more of a company, and I think they just wanted to get below that level so they didn't have to go through all that extra paperwork for owning this, this small cap. So that's what was likely going on there, because if you looked at Riot or Mara, they were selling 20-30% of those things versus Bit Digital, where they only sold a very small amount, and they had been accumulating pretty heavily before that time period. So that's what was going on likely there. I can't say that for sure, obviously, because I don't know, but it was very likely what was going on there with that. Let's take a look here at their March. So we've gone over their March production before. They did increase their Bitcoin production by 6%. They had 136 Bitcoin in March. Their active hash rate was 2.76, which I think was a slight improvement since the beginning of the year. They haven't improved their hash rate as much as I would like. I am expecting them in Q2 or Q3 to, kind of get on that, and I believe their target was like 6. Yes, BitDigital wants to get during 2024, get their exahash up to 6 exahash. They did currently, as of December 31st, 2023, they have a total exahash amount in terms of the Bitcoin miners that they own of 3.9. Currently, though, they're only active with about 2.76 as of the March update here. So they are going to get up to 6, which will be greater than a double of what they had before the halving. They're getting there. They're not quite there yet. They're currently at just about 4, but they're only operating with 2.76, and we'll see how that increases over the next couple of months and after the halving. So that'll be quite interesting to see with BitDigital and their growth. So they will continue to mine about the same or more Bitcoin than they were before the halving. They have the Ethereum staking that's doing very well. They're also got the AI business that has actually kind of been crushing it a little bit. And in fact, we've been seeing some other Bitcoin mining companies take a note from that acquisition from BitDigital and that venture of theirs and start doing that themselves, just like you see it with IREN. I believe there was one other as well, but that's the only one I can remember off the top of my head right now as I'm going. So let's take a look here at some of their stock information. So you can see here that they have, from analysts, an upside of 167%, $5.50. They're currently sitting at $2. So that would be a significant turn up. They're also expecting their projected earnings to be up 250%, going from 2 cents to 7 cents per share. That's pretty exciting. And on top of that, you can see that their short interest is over 20%, almost 22%. 20% is an exceptionally high short interest and opens the door for a potential insane short squeeze up to that $5.50 mark. And I think that's why analysts are seeing it. This has short squeeze potential all over it in the short term. I don't expect that to happen maybe until like after the halving, maybe a month or two, maybe even going into July before we really see that upswing. But that would be pretty exciting if we went up that high that fast. So let's take a look at their shares outstanding. So this is how we're going to do our calculation for the when moon on BitDigital. So we can see that they currently have 88,987 shares outstanding. If we go to their registration withdrawal, which shows how many shares they were going to dilute with, which is, where is it at? Where is it at? It's right here, 20 million. They were going to add 20 million shares. And they withdrew this withdrawal, so these 20 million shares are still on the table. And the fact that they went and withdrew the withdrawal means to me that they are planning to dilute with these shares. They may or may not use all of them, but for the sake of our calculations here, I'm going to assume that they are going to use all of them, especially since the Bitcoin market has been heating up so much due to the ETFs. These companies need to grow. They need to grow fast, and there is great opportunity to do that growth right now. So they really want to get on top of that, and I can't see a situation where they don't use all of that in order to expand their business. So we're going to assume that they're going to do that. So let's see. They're going to dilute by 20 million shares. Let's say it's 20 million. Yeah, we'll just say 20 million even. I'm not going to add the 10,000. I'm not dealing with numbers that small right now. So we'll call this 89 million, and we're going to add 20 million. So we got 89 plus 20, right? So 109 million shares is what they're likely going to have. So let's take a look at what their total market cap has been in the past. So what is the absolute peak of their market cap? So in the past, the absolute peak of their market cap was $1.05 billion. So if we assume that BitDigital never gets a higher market cap than that previous all-time high market cap, what will the price of BitDigital potentially be? Let's have a look. So if we have 109 million shares, and it could be 1.05 billion, so 109, so we got 1.05 billion. Actually, it's more like that. Divided by 109. And we're looking at 963 per share. So if BitDigital only ever achieves its previous all-time high market cap with the diluted shares that they have currently that they're able to dilute with, which would take them to 109 million shares, we would be looking at $9.63 on that stock, which is, not quite a 5x from its current price, but that'd be pretty sweet. I would take that in a heartbeat. That would be fantastic. I would be sitting on quite a lot of money on my BitDigital shares. Not like super life-changing or anything, but significant. It'd be a significant return. So with that said, let's take a look at some of their competitors now and how high their market cap has gotten in the past. Let's see Bitfarms. Let's see how high has Bitfarms gotten in the past. Let's see the market cap. Their highest market cap was 1.5 billion. So 1.53 billion. So let's do this calculation now. We have our 109 million shares of BitDigital. What if they reach Bitfarms' previous all-time high market cap, which isn't entirely unrealistic because Bitfarms for a long time had a similar exahash to BitDigital. They're also a small cap, just like BitDigital, so there is potential that could be. So 153, right? Boom, just like that. All right, divided by 109. $14. That'd be a 7x from our current position. $14 for BitDigital if it were only to reach Bitfarms' previous all-time high market cap with the current dilution they have on the books to deploy into their stock, into their shares. So that is actually pretty exciting. A 7x return, I don't see anyone that could potentially not be excited about that. So let's take a look. Let's go a little further. Let's take a look at, let's say, like Hive. Hive is another one that's kind of small. It's not huge, but it's not like tiny either. So they're a little bit bigger. So market cap, their previous all-time market cap, 1.5. Yeah, it's about 1.5. Okay, not great. I don't think that they're going to do that. So let's see what would be the potential like all-time high that we can see for BitDigital in terms of market cap that it can accumulate. Let's see how IREN does. Let's see what is their previous all-time high market cap. 1.38. So these are all kind of in line with BitDigital. Let's go with something a little bit bigger. Let's try RIOT. RIOT, okay, they were once the biggest, they're not the biggest anymore. What was their previous all-time high market cap? 4.82 billion. Let's go with that. And then we'll do Mara's, because we like to do Mara's. So $4.82 billion. Let's see what would happen what would the price of BitDigital be if it were capable of reaching $4.82 billion with that 109 million shares, which includes the dilution that they currently have on the books that they could use to dilute. So let's have a look-see. So that, what did I say? That was 4.82. 4.82. Okay. $44. That'd be $44. That would take us way up and above the previous all-time high. Let me get this on the weekly so I can get that. Okay, 2 weeks. The 2-week chart. Let's see, what's the previous all-time high on this bad boy? That would take us head and shoulders above our previous all-time high of $32.91. That would take us all the way up to that $42 level. That would make a pretty striking new all-time high if it reached $4.82 billion. Which, do you think it could? I mean, if they're pulling in AI revenue of $100 million a year, they have their Ethereum staking, and if Ethereum reaches $10,000 this cycle, which most analysts are saying, yeah, it's likely to do that. We'll see though. Of course, this is all speculation and not financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. On top of that, they have a Bitcoin treasury of 956 Bitcoin, and they're just adding to that. They haven't really been selling a lot of Bitcoin since they got their AI business off the ground, which is one of the reasons I started investing back into BitDigital. They stopped selling off their Bitcoin, and the AI business actually turned out to be, relatively profitable for them. So that, I decided, hey, it's time to get back into BitDigital with that result. So they've got nearly 1,000 Bitcoin on the balance sheet. They are being successful with their AI business. They've got 16,000 Ethereum on the books that they are staking for, what is the percentage? It's like 2-point-something% that they are staking their Ethereum for. Stake 2.8% that they're staking Ethereum for. So they're actively staking only 3,000 of it, but they produced in a month 29 Ethereum, which extrapolating that out to, if we were to say that it was, Ethereum reaches its 10K potential, that's $290,000 a month of staking out of Ethereum. So that's pretty sweet, and that's just going to get bigger because I imagine they'll stake more of this Ethereum. So we've got all three of those things factoring in. Do we think that BitDigital could potentially surpass that $4.82 billion market cap this cycle, considering that they've got all three of these things happening for them right now? And with that, let's go and look at, and we know what it is, but I'll show it again just for the sake of showing it. Marathon Digital's previous all-time high market cap. Let's see if we can run for it. Let's see what would Bit Digital look like in the event that it reached Marathon Digital's previous all-time high market cap of $7.56 billion. Do we really think that Bit Digital can achieve that? I don't know, but I do think it would be interesting just to run the math on that. So 756 divided by 109 million shares. 69.36. So $69.36 that would be more than a double of the previous all-time high on Bit Digital. And remember, Bit Digital wasn't doing the AI before. They didn't have nearly as much Ethereum before. They are increasing their exahash greatly. They have big investments from the big boys, BlackRock, State Street, Investco. They're all in there, I believe. So Bit Digital has all these big investors. It's got 3 methods of generating revenue right now, and Bitcoin is just going to skyrocket here after the halving. Ethereum likely to skyrocket with it. Their AI business is growing, and then they are reaching their targets quite decisively in basically all of these areas. So could they potentially reach that $7.5 billion market cap this cycle? I don't know, but if they do, that is going to be nearly a $70 Bit Digital in that scenario. So what do I think is the most likely scenario here? What do I think could potentially be like the greatest possible scenario here? Honestly, personally, given that it is a small cap, it does have big investment from the big investment firms. It does have very interesting dynamics of revenue, and it is diversified. They are doing well with that. They have good execution. But their previous all-time high market cap was just over $1 billion. So I'm going to be conservative with my thoughts, and this is what I think could potentially happen, given all these factors coming into play. With this dilution taking them from 89 million shares to 109 million shares, and with all of these other factors in play, I am going to go ahead and conservatively guess that they could potentially triple their previous all-time high market cap and take them up to about maybe $3 billion this cycle in this run. And that would represent a Bit Digital price of about $27.50. Well, $27.52. That's what my goal is. So that's going to be my goal, about $27. Honestly, if it gets into like 23 or 24, I'm going to take some profit, because that's a crap load of profit for me personally, because my Bit Digital average price is like $2.30. I am currently underwater on that, but it's about $2.30 is my average price on Bit Digital. And if it went up to $23 or $24, that would be a 10x. I would be absolutely mad not to take some profit at that point. So even if it goes higher than that, you better believe I'll be taking out at least my cost basis around the low 20s on Bit Digital, and then from there just let it run and see what happens. And then obviously if it shows a blow off top, I'd be exiting my whole position at that point. And of course, I'll be letting everyone know on the channel about those decisions as they come, let you know what I'm looking for, when those tops could potentially be coming in, and we'll be running this trade hopefully together and making tons and tons of money off of this. But that's what I'm looking at right now. I am aiming for a mid-20s Bit Digital, but my mind is open to more like a mid-40s Bit Digital as well, because let's face it, things can get kind of crazy. We've got much bigger investors involved this time than we did before. We're also going to have governments involved pretty soon, if they have not already started getting involved. Potentially, we could be, if you've been watching Invest Answers, you can see that pension funds have been sniffing around Bitcoin as well, which could drive the price of this thing sky high. And if they're sniffing around Bitcoin, you better believe they're going to start sniffing around Ethereum pretty soon afterwards. AI isn't going anywhere. It is becoming just a bigger and bigger part of our lives here, and Bit Digital is solidly entrenched in all 3 of those things, making a trifecta of awesome for this stock. So potentially, I really am looking for those mid-20s, but like I am so badly hoping for those mid-40s on this stock. That would be absolutely amazing. And with that said, that is the when moon for Bit Digital. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.